Early on, when QHS was first forming, Darlene grasped the fact that the tests she was performing validate the QT wave is working, miraculously for some and subtly for most. The benefits, though, couldn't hide from the member reports and graphs. She knew that her graphs and reports would show the story of healing and set out to visibly prove the quantum twine wave effect works. For those tested showing no benefit, this was a motivation to discover why. We are not diagnosing, treating, or prescribing from a medical standpoint. This is for educational purposes only. Hey everyone, welcome to another BioScan with Darlene show. We're so happy that you could join us. And today she is showing you all kinds of juicy details, different than before. So it's going to be very fun. Hi, Darlene.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And my mother. Hi, Mom.
So did you want to start off by playing the video, or did you want to talk about everything first?
Well, let's go ahead and play the video first.
Okay.
What we're showing here is a graph of Alex's latest review here. He's still in the fourth phase here. Now you have your first two phases, which is balanced. Your third and fourth is the biological division. That's where diet and exercise are not working. So what he's doing and what he's taking is still not addressing the inflammation. So when I click on, let's say, the nervous system, well, basically what it's showing, it pulls up a reading according to the database and what it's determining that where he needs to go nutritionally. So it's saying B vitamins, it's saying, things for his liver, and it's just, omega-3s, anything that he can do now that will counteract inflammation. Back in August of 22nd of 23, this is when he first sent his base test to me. And then the second report, which was the end of January, as you can see, his inflammation increased. This is very common. And as people start addressing their digestive health and looking at their stomach as their main area to change your protocol and your diet, and along with the device, you saw that, okay, you said with your autoimmune disease, you're taking some medication here. So here we went 3 months later, and he stuck with it. You moved totally out of the red. You jumped 3 or 4 phases, which is amazing there. And then we went to today. So now the inflammation has increased again. So a lot of times, the body will go back and forth. But as you can see here, his respiratory, his cardio, his skin, a lot of them have moved practically into no number, which is perfect. But what we're looking at here is the lymphatics. And the lymphatics are showing. So when I went into those points, basically what I'm doing here is I'm comparing his second visit to where he is now. The allergy areas, his circulation, his fatty tissues, his weakened areas have gone into balance. And then we've got the heart, the joints. Now he did have a lot of pain at the beginning with his, your back, and your kidneys are doing better in both areas. I mean, even from that visit, your large intestine is more balanced here. And then as you can see here, his lymphatics, so, a lot of that have moved to balance to stress. And then we've got the nervous system, which is saying your body's coping. And we know that the frequencies are helping with emotional support. Now, your small intestine, that was having some issue, which is your gallbladder. And it's more balanced here as well. So the only thing that really needs to be addressed is your endocrine. So when we go over the lymphatic system, it's showing your sinuses, your nose, your tonsils, your teeth. What pathogen is disturbing that area to be inflamed where it is. So as we swallow, let's say you have bacteria, and every time you swallow, well, that's going down into your stomach. It's feeding the stomach lining. So that's kind of why this is picking this up. So overall, what I suggest is he look at his endocrine, his hormones, basically look at what is addressing his teeth. because if you see here, the sinus nose. So what is causing an allergic, allergy effect? Here, a lot of his inflammation has decreased. This was the second visit. You can see where he was very inflamed, and now his inflammation has decreased quite a bit. So this is an improvement. So yeah, Alex couldn't be here. He had to work, and we did this about a couple of weeks ago. So what he was telling me is that yes, a lot of his issues, he has an autoimmune issue he's dealing with. And overall, that's what I loved in that video. He said subtly some are getting better. And that's what we're going to explain today. I'm going to explain what the homotoxicology chart verifies. And when you get these graphs and how to read them and how to determine what organ is causing your issues, because this is not something that just happened overnight. We're all pretty much in our 60s and we're addressing things from way back. So it is, what this survey showed too. This is just based on a year, even though a lot of us have been on the devices for over 2 years. What I'm showing with these progress reports is that, in a year's time, this is showing improvement, but we do have a lot of work that we have to do for ourselves. So I guess I can share my screen, or what is it?
Yeah, I'll let you share your screen, but I also have some questions about him.
Okay.
And it's like, was there any lifestyle recommendations that you made for him to have such a remarkable improvement?
Yes, he did address, the protocol, the digestive health, with intaking more probiotics and fiber and essential fatty acids, and then looking at what, kind of herbs that he needed to use to detoxify. Because as the body goes into those phases, it's pretty much in the tissue and it takes longer. And I have people that say, well, I did a liver cleanse or I did a parasite cleanse, but how long have you had those in your body? And is it just one time? No. And that's what these tests show. These tests show when you've gotten rid of those toxins. It's guesswork. We constantly guess what we need, and now we have technology that can tell us what we need. And to trust it is one thing, to believe in it is another, and it's where you take it from there. So when you get your reports, how are you looking at your reports? What are you asking yourself? Why did I do this survey? Why is it important now for me to analyze my health at this age? Can I really help myself? Yes, you can. We can. And we can do preventative care. It's just, sticking with the process and being consistent. And it's hard to be consistent. I know, because I go back and forth myself. I'm guilty of that as well. And I'm constantly, and I have the equipment right here. Like today I tested myself. So, I've been trying to balance myself out for the last 3 or 4 weeks now. So, it's a work in progress. So this is about the 6-phase homotoxicology table. And this is what it shows what phase represents your level of health. And this is what the technology was built on. Now, this goes back to 60 years. Or more. And homotoxicology has been around for over 200 years. And so when you have these different phases, we have like the first phase right here is the excretion phase. And what that is it's the body's ability to release toxins. That's kind of why the first two phases say balance, but still, you can still have issues that are persisting. You just have to stay on top of it and go by your symptoms. And so, your joint pain, a cough, or something like sneezing, runny nose, diarrhea. I mean, those are things that's good. It's about excreting the toxins out of your body. Now, you have the next phase, which is the inflammation phase. And yeah, over time, you could have acne. Well, acne could be showing inflammation of the gut health. A lot of times acne is derived, from what we're eating. and fried foods and things like that, your bronchial issues. So over time, I've had bronchitis for years, and I did abide by it, but I thought, it was environmental. I thought it was seasonal. But these are things that are persisting in our bodies, and how we have to keep the excretion level going. And then you have let's see, the deposition phases here.
So
And
can I ask you
this,
a question? Those first two columns, are those the green that we see in the reports?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And these are when things are just easy, the body's able to release the toxins. And then as we get to the deposition phase, this is when things are starting to happen. And you're starting to have the symptoms. So this is in the stress phase here, the two, and this is the biological division. So the body's warning you, like let's say you're a smoker and you start smoking and you say, well, I don't have bronchitis. My lungs are okay. But over time, that toxin will embed in the tissue and cause severe bronchitis and then lead to emphysema and then to a bronchial condition or lung cancer. So these are warnings, and that way, when you're looking at these reports and you're seeing your organs in certain areas, if they're in the stress, you have to determine what is going on, what is causing my problem, and ask questions. And I'm here to always help, if because this is preventative health. And a lot of times, just addressing a proper cleanse and addressing nutritional, and then looking at your environment as well. And then we have the impregnation phase. And this is when things really start embedding in our tissues and we start having chronic, like arthritis pain and coughing. And I had a severe cough like about 3 or 4 years ago. And my daughter even said, Mom, why are you coughing all the time? No, it's nothing. It's nothing. And it turned out to be something. It was a toxic, I had that seroma cavity that had toxic fluid in it and my white count. So yes, it was warning me. And if we go by our warnings, that's why I want you guys, when you're looking at these reports, these are just, it's not diagnosing, but it is telling you need to be aware that these things may be causing your issues. So then we get into the degeneration phase. This is when this is when the tissue starts really breaking down on a cellular level. And then we got the matrix here. We got, at least everything. You don't want to be in the sixth phase. That's when you start having really cancer issues.
So go back to that first chart that we were just discussing. So the humoral phases are green, the matrix phases are yellow, and the cellular phases are red.
Right, and that's what I'm going to get to next here. So here we go, right here. So you can still be in the balance phase and still have issues, but it's at a point in your life where, if it is balanced, you can excrete it from the body. And that's why sweating, what we talked about, sauna, it's really good. Or getting outside your house, looking at your environment. And then here's your reaction phase. So a lot of times, when you're in this phase, you'll still have, all these diseases here, that they kind of your stomach issues, thrush, this is based on just the body never is really, when we're living in the world we're living in, I've never seen a perfect body. I can't wait to see that. But overall, most people, I've had people I've tested all in the first phase, but I still have issues. So I just want you to realize that it's a body, and that your body needs detoxification all the time. It's not just a 1 month procedure. It's, you have to stay on top of it for your body to get out of the red phase. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of these numbers, happen. So this is outside the skin, the toxins, and this is when it becomes internal in the red. So that's, what homotoxicology is. Your disease is your problem. So as we do homeopathy and things like that, what it does, it calms the body down, but also it gives the body what it needs nutritionally, energetically, and it complements what we're doing with the wearing the QT Wave device. So here I wanted to show, now there are 6 phases. So, when we talk about the first phase here, this is when you can be sweating, have nervousness, concentrating on mild joint pain and heartburn.
So, we can't see the blue column on the far left.
Yeah, that's all the 14 organs. Okay. So basically, we're talking about the different phases right now. But this is a woman, and I will tell you, this is back in 2014. I met her. She was in her 50s. And that's when I had my sauna business. And she came in and she was getting sick and she was, addressing issues that when I tested her, she finally found out she was diagnosed with like 4 kinds of cancer. So this is what somebody looks like when they have cancer. So when you're in that degenerated phase, and this is the digestive, all in that area, her body was being, on a cellular level, her body was breaking down. And so when I went in to find out what was causing her issue, because I would test her liver was 82. It was in the 6th phase, and it turns out it was her home. It was asbestos. And she just moved into that home like a year ago and was getting married to her husband. And he says, well, I got rid of the asbestos. And I go, well, it must still be there because, she's having these issues. It's like the canary being thrown in the mine cave. She was just one of those where her immune system couldn't tolerate it. And it eventually, after about 4 months, after I did this test, she did pass away. So, she was healthy up to that point, but yet there were signs that she neglected. And this is what happens. It happens over time. But if you have these kind of reports that are showing you things are happening, I've seen people in this phase that move all the way over back into the green. I'm seeing it now. So, we do have a prevention way of looking at things. It's not a death sentence. But knowing her and what she tried to do, and she was a pretty healthy woman over time, but, it was her home environment that, a toxin that really invaded her body that she could not, basically she couldn't eliminate. She couldn't excrete it from the tissue.
That's sad.
So on the good note here, after 40 participants completed their test, this is what I wanted to show how the tests were based on. And when you've got 20% went from weakened to balance, and then 45 went from weakened to stress, well, that right there is an improvement. And then 12% moved from stress to probably what I should have said, more balance. And then 8% went from stress to balance. This is 85% of the 40 people improved. So when we see this movement, when it moves from the left to the right, the right to the left, that means, they're moving into more of a balanced phase. Now, these 5% from stress to weaken, and then 3% went from weaken to weaken. Well, what's addressing them? What toxins have they been carrying in their tissues for years? This is what, the frequencies we're wearing aren't going to, do this yet. Eventually it will. But what we're noticing is that there's still people, that are still fighting the toxins that they encountered probably 30, 40 years ago, even more, even when they were born. I find that when, a girlfriend of mine that has cancer now, she grew up her dad was a tobacco farmer. She handled the chemicals. She just told me that a year ago. So, it could have stemmed from that chemical that encountered in her tissues and broke down over the years and caused her to not be, where her immune system was strong enough to fight other pathogens. And she is very, well, she's got other pathogens that she's fighting. So here, this showed, now the good news is 20%. Now, this is basically just based on the organs, out of 14 organs, the ones that went into balance mode out of the 40 people. So the skin showed the most improvement. Well, that right there, we were talking about the excretion phase. Well, that right there is showing that the skin is excreting the toxins. And then we're having people talk about less pain. And so the joints. So a lot of times you can carry bacteria in your connective tissues. And that's where a lot of the pain stems from. So we proved that, right now, out of the 40 people, 16% of them, the organs move, the joints move to balance phase. And then we have the endocrine system. The endocrine is your pineal, your thyroid, your engine that runs your body. So yes, why are people sleeping better? So that's proving that organ that, well, there's more than one organ there. There's thyroid, the pituitary, the adrenal gland. Yes, all that is pertained to that. So then, but look at here, we still have the gallbladder, the liver, the fatty tissues, the large intestine. They're not, they've improved, but not as much. So what am I determining here? I'm determining that those tissues are still holding toxins in. So when we're talking about our bodies totally getting healthy and to be perfect overnight, no, this is a year project here. We're talking about, I'm saying, eventually in the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to be in a better shape by having these frequencies and being aware of what it takes. Use this study, go to personal people that can do it as well. I'm here. Hopefully I'm going to bring Sherry aboard and she can do more tests. So that's going to be real helpful for people. But right now it's her practice and she can't do that, with the time factor.
Wow.
So
that's amazing, Darlene. Dawn had a comment in the chat. She said, I'd be curious if the 8% in red were compliant or if it is just taking their bodies longer to heal. Her grandmother used products in her garden that they believed gave her cancer all over her body.
Yeah, it's the body. I call it a deep healing process. So the more we wear these devices and we address the toxins and we devitalize them, take herbs, take things the way it'll purge them out, and, just over time, she'll increase, she'll get better. Now, my mother had an issue. Mom, are you here?
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah, Mom, she
What?
just told me, yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing
So,
much better now.
yeah, so you want to say what was going on with you yesterday? And
Well, I
how
just went through severe dehydration. I mean, it was really a task to deal with it. But I mean, I got my information from Darlene and everything, and then I'm much better now. I mean, I've been following her prescription this morning, and I'm feeling great.
So yeah, she's increasing the Celtic salt and also electrolytes. So yeah, she's had some bladder and kidney issues as well. Now she's had 10 kids, so I'm the oldest. So that's why I'm the boss around the house. But the thing is that she had this awareness. She didn't call me and tell me she was dehydrated. And basically what I'm noticing with my mother, she's becoming more intuitive. So it's telling me that the pineal gland, she's sleeping more. She had issues, fibromyalgia for years.
Sleeping too much, really.
Yeah, well, I told her sleep is very good. She's repairing. She's making up for all that lost time. They usually say you can't make up for sleep, but I think we are. If we go by our bodies, and when I first started wearing the devices, I still take 2-hour naps sometimes, and I just go with it. I don't feel guilty about it. I just say, okay, this is what my body needs, and I'm going to listen to my body.
Right way.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, it was like I started feeling paranoid. I had confusion, and I couldn't even go urine. I mean, I couldn't even go pee. I was struggling with that, and I got so tired. And luckily, I managed to figure out that I was in a state of dehydration, and so I started Googling and doing everything, and then I talked to Darlene, and then everything is coming out better now. Now that she's given me the right prescription to go forward.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy is that salt has been demonized in our culture. However, it is so powerful, and we are electrical beings, and it needs those electrolytes, the sodium, potassium, magnesium, to stay strong and healthy. It's like when you go to the hospital, what do they give you? They give you an IV drip of saline, just salt water.
I don't want to go to a hospital ever.
Well, you're lucky you have Darlene right in your back pocket. So anyway, who else has questions for Darlene?
Connie.
Anybody?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Barbara.
Darlene, did you say diarrhea is good when you're detoxing?
Yes, it's a part of excretion. Yeah, as long as it doesn't go on too long. Yeah, I've had it for.
I
Well,
mean,
I wouldn't go more than 2 days. I mean, but you still need to hydrate and do the electrolytes as you're,
right.
excreting. That's important. But I've had, where times I've taken MMS to get rid of, like if I have a bacterial infection, well, a lot of times the bacterial infection is related to the bad bacteria that's in my gut. So it's going to release that automatically. So yeah, to look at diarrhea as something bad happening, it's not. No, it's good. Especially when you've been sick or you have, let's say, intestinal nocids, like you've had a food poisoning, you want that to come out.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of times I make myself excrete it through my mouth if I have to. A lot of people will hold that in. That's not good. Sneezing, to hold your sneezes, that's not good. Let it out. As long as it's not around somebody else. But when I was in China, they just let it out, and you're, standing by them. They don't even use tissues. I was like, oh my gosh. But they're in a toxic environment, so yeah, all the time. I have a certain place on my couch. Every time I sit on my couch, it's by the home healing. I'll be sitting there reading a book, and every day I start sneezing, and I don't know why. It's just, it's a histamine release. So I just go with it. And I don't have a cold or anything. So, but maybe I have something going on and it's saying, okay, let it out. So when we have these symptoms, it's good. It's good to let your body excrete.
And our environment right now has things in it too, Darlene. So, your body's getting rid of it through sneeze. Just, this is a testimony because you can read things, but actually knowing somebody that, was healthy, ran, 92 years old, his wife fed him healthily, and Saturday he went in the hospital. This was my former husband, the girl's dad, and they removed 7 places in his body where there were blood clots from the vaccine. And because he was in such good health, he's up about, and he was completely paralyzed on his left side on Saturday, and his mouth was moved over and all. And so he's very coherent, walking, and they're putting him in physical therapy right now. But, sometimes not only that the Lord is making a way for them to go and be knowledgeable, because my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And Darlene and Dr. Gloria and all of us together, we're sharing things to go and bless and help one another, not to tear down, but to build up so that we can overcome and be stronger and better, healthier people to be able to educate and others. Sometimes we just don't even need to say anything. They see by our example what's happening. So our daughters, because they were in the hospital and nursing and social worker, counselor in the hospital, Diane went and had those vaccines too. And Darlene, tried helping her in a year. She wound up, getting cancer of the breast, and thank God it was just her right lymph node. But she's going the way that I'm going, like, oh dear God, make a way, because we are perishing for a lack of knowledge. Darlene is speaking truth into our lives. So, let's glean what we can together to get better and better. And I'm so grateful, that we have our devices and that we're doing what we're doing to be here and to make an impact in our world. So I'm so thankful for you all.
Thank you, Connie. Appreciate that.
How scary. At least they found the blood clots before it was too late. So that's a blessing.
But in his brain, his neck, his left arm, his groin, and his leg.
Mm.
And he's moving all of them right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I'm very grateful that they found what they did and got it taken care of. I pray, that there aren't more, because, he wasn't taking Lasix and doing the things that the doctors had, recommended to. So a lot of people that were in denial and took the vaccines, if they're taking the Lasix, it's at least, thinning the blood, whether it's vitamin D or your vision formula with the A's and the bilberry and the antioxidants and the quercetin. What can we do to get more, oxygen in our bodies? And, walking, exercising, upper body movements, to get more oxygen. DMB 15 is an oxygen, a blood oxygen cell enhancer. So there are things that we can do. And
Yeah, and it's not the germ. We know it's the lack of oxygen. So when your body gets in that stage, I know of people now that, are fighting cancer, and intravenously they're trying to create an oxygen effect to the blood. So that's how they're healing, but you don't want to get in that phase. So if we can prevent, that's the key.
Yeah.
Just to show how faithful God is, Diane's girlfriend had spent the night a couple months ago, and she goes, Diane, my husband has sleep apnea. I think he has sleep apnea. So the doctor put her on the oxygen machine. So what helps get rid of cancer? What makes our blood healthier? But Darlene,
Oxygen.
oxygen. So I am so grateful, that she's on oxygen. And
Yes.
you said to her, when you're not working, you could carry it around in the house with you and put the oxygen machine. And I said, yes, because I really have to be silent. And just be an example, because she is not really listening to me.
That's hard. You know what I said to my mom one time, Connie, is because my mom's very unhealthy and she gets mad at me because, I'm always giving her health tips. And she said, "Why are you always bugging me, Tracy?" And I said, "Mom, if you were walking down the street and you saw a car on fire and you saw somebody sitting in that car, would you try to save them?" And she says, "Of course I would." I said, "Well, you're sitting in a burning car, Mom. I'm just trying to help you." So sometimes they just need to want that help, so we're so thankful for everyone here. So Linda, so Corinne, I'll get to you in a sec, but Linda asked in the chat, where do you get your MMS from, Darlene?
Well, right now, I don't have a source. The only way I'm telling people to get it is through Amazon. You can order it through that. I was getting the Dr. Jim Hummel's version, and as soon as I get it, I'll let you know. I'm the woman that's making it in Alabama ever since he died. I don't, yeah, she's slow or she's got a high demand. I don't know, but I haven't been able to receive any.
Okay. What's funny is when I search up MMS to try to find like where to buy it, it comes up M&Ms.
Oh.
That's not what I want.
You don't want M&Ms, you know.
Okay, Corinne, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys. I with the recent upgrade that Dr. A completed with the Q twines, have you guys noticed, Darlene, anyone, Tracy, any differences in how you feel? For example, for me, I realized I was drinking 3 liters of water a day, and that included my, working out at the gym. And now I found I had to up it to another liter.
Wow.
And it just felt so much better. I felt less stressed, right? And I was feeling stressed. I didn't even know why. And God bless Dr. A for announcing that in the Q&A. So this is really on Friday, rather, the admin call. But it was perfect because at that point, and Donnie knew, he took one off. He took a device off immediately, my husband. But then I started realizing just something intuitively, I added another liter, and it's beautiful. Like I just calmed down. I just wondered if have you seen any or felt any difference? I know it's early to ask that, Darlene, but
that could be what happened to my mom, because that just happened 3 days ago. She was hydrating. So that could be it. It's requiring us to drink more water and add salts and potassium, sodium to our water, because you don't want to just drink a lot of water because that'll dilute your sodium. So you want to add additives to the water, occasionally. But yeah, Mom, did that happen just in the last 3 days, right? With your dehydration?
A couple of days. It took a couple of days before I realized there was something definitely wrong. I'm always trying to say nothing that's going to happen to me, but it does. So
well, it's just your body warning, and that's good that you abided by it. And her intuitiveness was, she needed to hydrate.
Good.
Her calling her, with God and herself, she just said, "Oh, it just told me I'm dehydrated."
So that's where you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I got it from my mom.
Corinne, I have to say I've been very thirsty. I don't monitor how much I drink, but today I've probably already had 2.5 liters, and it's not noon yet. So, and they say that once you're thirsty, you're already in the dehydration stage. So we want to get out ahead of it. And I hope that all of you are taking electrolytes at least once a day. I take them in the morning on my way to the gym, and then I usually take them one more time. And depending if I go to hot yoga, if you live in a hot environment, you want more sodium. So just kind of pay attention and check in. Okay, Corinne,
thank you.
Did you get
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, baby. Okay, Dawn.
So Corinne was asking like what we noticed. And I will tell you that I've had like some bug bites, like, from mosquitoes, and they just weren't healing. I'd scratch them and I'd scratch them too much. And once Dr. A did that, my healing just, my skin is looking so much better. So that was immediate for me. I mean, I'm sure there's other things that I'm not noticing yet, but I noticed that right off the bat very easily. It was because I've been dealing with it for months and it hasn't been getting any better until now. So yay, Dr. A.
That's cool. What state are you in, Dawn?
Missouri.
Okay. Is that a humid area?
It is. It's very humid. Yeah. And they feed off of you. They love me. When I don't love them, it's a love-hate relationship, but that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, you're just so sweet. That's why.
All
Awesome.
right.
Okay. Kira.
Lemongrass oil is good for that. Lemongrass oil, if you have a Trader Joe's, they have a good lemongrass formula,
Hmm.
in
Okay.
in a pump bottle, and that repels the mosquitoes.
Eucalyptus is a natural DEET as
Yeah.
well. And they
Yeah.
mix it with oils, lemon oil and all that. I have a spray that I use before I go out and walk Josie to the park because they'll bite you like crazy.
I love that oil that Connie's talking about. I use that on my face. It's a coconut oil base.
Yes.
It has lemongrass. It's light enough that I can put. So Dr. Gloria's skincare formula that she has on the blog is great for me for nighttime, but it's too heavy for me for daytime. So I use that lemongrass oil and it's lighter. And the smell is so good. Okay, Kira.
I want to say thanks, Dawn, for mentioning that, because I also have never had issues with mosquitoes until the last, I don't know, year. And I didn't notice that until you said that all of a sudden, yes. And recently they're healing and I'm not getting as many bites and they wouldn't heal ever. And now they're healing. And so I want to point out that that's one of the gifts with everybody sharing. When you share stuff, when you share your experiences with the QT wave and what's happening for you, it makes us all think, oh yeah, I'm having that too. So just encouragement for people to share their stories.
Our energy levels are up too, which is good. Despite the hurricane and all that went on down in Florida.
Oh, how is that going in Florida? That hurricane? Is it crazy?
No, it passed.
It's past, it's over. We needed the rain. There was some flooding, but it got a lot of the dust out of the air. Yeah, that helped. So that
I'm
could
sure
be
we'll
why
be-
our energy is increased too. Yeah, we're feeling it as well.
Awesome. Okay, Jude posted you can buy repellent stickers called Buzz Patch by Mosey's. Are those mosquitoes? I guess that's a cool way of saying mosquito is a mosey.
Australian way.
Mozzie.
Mhm.
That's so cute. I love that. I'm going to see if anybody notices when I start using that word instead. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else have a question for Darlene or me or anyone, each of you? No?
No, but I'll say that when you see her in person, work with Darlene in person, I haven't done the long distance, so can't say that it's different, but first of all, who doesn't love Darlene? I love Darlene. I get to sit with her for a few hours. And yeah. But it's so cool because, I knew that I had stuff going on and this last time when I was there, her device kept picking up something with the water. I'm like, my water's good. My water's good. But there's a bacteria in my water. So I had to come home and clean everything out and, sterilize everything and start over. And hopefully when I go back, we'll have better water, better testing. but I wouldn't have guessed that because I clean it. My water's clean. I wouldn't have known, but she tested it and let me see that. So that was good.
Very good.
Yeah, so a lot of times, yeah, the water you drink, you have to really purify it and know what you're drinking and test it
Mm.
because it
What's
is
the
important.
what's the best way to test it?
Well, you could, do a peach tree dish. You could test for mold or fungus, bacteria that way. You can test the pH and you can set it off. There's ways of testing it. Like, especially I find people who have well water, they think their water is clean and then they have there's a lot of copper in it. So, those are things to address, metals. And also, reverse osmosis. That was the situation. And I would pick up my water and get reverse osmosis from a grocery store. And I found out it had bacteria in it. So, if you're not doing your own reverse osmosis, like get a machine that can do that for you. And then add your minerals to that water after you've done that.
That's what I have is an RO machine, and I have it on my calendar every year to change the filters at the proper time. And I can see the copper in the filters when we change them. Jude, I'm posting the mold test kit here in the chat.
Thank you.
You can find something like that in your country, I'm sure.
Yeah, Amazon has a lot of little testers you can use and test in your home.
Yeah, the mold was shocking.
Balance the copper keeps your hair from getting gray. So
Yes,
we
lack
need
of copper. Yeah, that's true.
I
But
don't know. I have to go every 3 weeks.
you wouldn't know it.
So anyway, all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you back in 2 weeks. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Alex. We wish you could be with us live. And if any of you guys have not done your samples or, been working with Darlene directly, you can email her at bioscan@qtwe.net. That way you can see if she has room in her recent studies. And, our goal here is for everyone to get better.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Love you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you back,
you.
Curtis.
If
Love
you
you
want
guys
to,
all.
Bye.
Have a
bye-bye.
good rest of your week.
Bye. Have a good week.
Bye for
See
now.
y'all later.
That's a good one.